Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Unwrapping Marketing One Piece at a Time. This time we have Annie, who's heading demand gen and ABM at SpotDraft. And the next 1 hour we're going to talk about demand gen and ABM in detail. Is an operator here, who's executing campaigns for and then generating pipeline for companies like SpotDraft, and she's worked in services and few other SaaS companies. Annie, I would love to introduce yourself first, and then into a conversation.
Yeah. Hi, Karthik. I think I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me to have this conversation. As Karthik said, I'm currently at SpotDraft. I'm leading the demand and the ABM function. I've been in this, if people who don't know SpotDraft, this basically like in CLM, contract lifecycle management platform. And I've been in this space now for close to 6, 7 years. This is my third company in the pretty much same space. So now I think I'm starting to get a hang of this space, and I'm liking it. So still sticking with it. But yeah, done SaaS part as well, services part as well in the past. So yeah, really glad. I've done like a bunch of things in the start. Started marketing very grounds up in terms of like basic internet research. So that helped me like understand market a little better, how things operate, as understanding the persona, and that's where my interest I think started getting into like customization in terms of like what works for somebody doesn't work for somebody else. So that kind of interest peaked because I had that experience of like basic research, understanding your persona kind of thing, right? So then done like customer marketing for some years, and now I think I found my calling. I think it's like demand in ABM, and I really like what I do. So yeah, looking forward to this conversation, Karthik.
Can you say you found your calling?
Yeah.
Is it too much pressure, right? Every day there's going to be a lot of
Oh,
uh,
100%, 100%.
replies
I think I like
messages.
it.
Okay, nice. For the audience, right? I would love for you to explain like what exactly is demand gen and APM, because see in India, it's in the US it's different. Okay, if you say
Yeah,
demand gen, it's considered differently, right? But predominantly India, a lot of them consider demand gen as just outbound. Okay, but according to you,
yeah,
a lot of them also think ABM is also outbound, right? And when
yeah,
I
yeah.
speak to them, they want to. And to give you an example, we recently have at a huge company, which is a really big company. It's a Fortune company, very famous. It's a good brand, and they came in as an ABM inbound inquiry, and then they started
Mhm.
asking us to do only outbound emails. Okay,
Mm.
they want us to do personalized emails, right, at scale, and they're expecting, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, 20 meetings in a month, which is
Yeah.
crazy, right? And so it's just according to you or based on what you've been doing, right? Like, can you explain a little bit of like differentiate like what exactly is demand gen for you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for Quadrat, and what exactly is ABM?
So I think I've like my current CMO, I've like learned some word which is called demand, like ABM led demand.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to call it like obviously demand is a very broad term where you have like n number of channels that support your pipeline, right? So and I find ABM is also pretty much the same thing, but like you have like an ABM where it's like one to many. When you do like one to many, you're just calling out to the whole audience, the whole TAM and SAM that you have. I like to call that as a demand gen function. And when you just like start narrowing down your pipeline in terms of like one to few, then you start making like cohorts out of your the whole SAM. Then you narrow it down to one to your like top accounts where you feel like you win bigger deals and better deals, like better brands. So I like to call it like there's a demand on the top, and then obviously everything ABM can't be your whole company's function. Demand has to be like the broader function, and then how you narrow it down to like smaller audiences where like what works for this does not work for that maybe, and works better for something does not work. So I think that ABM is like a niche into the demand function where people are now trying to move and understanding the value of it. That obviously there is a demand generation, demand capture that you do on a broader sense, but also then you trickle it down to your top identification of where you win big. And though it's a long game, it's a mix of brand awareness that you create, it's a mix of like the events that you do, and there are leading indicators that you see that start coming in with your ABM. ABM might not just close your deals 1 quarter down, but then you'll start seeing the leading indicators. People are like registering to your events faster. People are downloading your content sooner than they were in the past, right? So it's like an enabler that happens across the quarters and you start seeing results. It's a long game that you have to get into, and actually like a strategic game that you get into. You have to have buy-ins from top down to run that, and across like teams as well is what I feel is an just a mini version of your demand function that you have like a dedicated uh, run engine set up for is what I feel.
Okay, got it. So you're saying demand gen is
Umbrella.
like that itself. Okay, then
Yeah.
of course you can do there's multiple things you can do under demand gen.
Yeah.
Do you think SpotDraft has a function which is, let's say, demand capture is a separate function, or demand capture is part of demand gen? Like what is how is it?
So when I came in, we were pretty much like doing channels, but doing them like separately.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wanted to like consolidate that demand function in terms of like, okay, now we are moving into a stage where we have like a brand team, where we have like a digital function, digital center of excellence. There's an events team. So all these ideally, and then we also have like a revenue marketing function set up, very like big revenue marketing function set up. So we are now trying to consolidate the demand across these teams and make it like one engine that runs like an autopilot kind of a mode that runs those like all channels. So I feel yes, demand is a broader engine, but there are sub channels or functions that you want to call, like there's a digital paid organic that runs, there's a brand awareness campaign that runs. So it's a accumulation of all these smaller functions that fuels your pipeline. Ultimate goal is to get pipeline and revenue, right? So there as a channel, there's fuel that pipe is what I feel like demand starts with and then consolidates. Like you pick your top maybe like 500 accounts. That's where like the ABM, which is part of your SAM, comes into the picture. Is what I feel right now. It's
How
about
does uh, how does your team look like right now?
right now. Like in general for whole marketing, as I said, there's like CMO, then there is like a revenue marketing function that
No, no, specifically about your
my
team. Okay,
team.
because, yeah, your team, right? Because you're
Yeah.
responsible for demand gen and AVM.
Yes. Right. So
Uh,
we
what is
have
the-
like digital, the email,
okay,
inbound BDR is something that we call, and then I
okay,
have like a specialized ABM person as well.
got
So
it.
there's like accumulation of like these ABM specific. There's an inbound BDR who converts the inbound funnel, and then there is like a digital center of excellence, and then there is like
Oh,
the
so
email
the
channel.
digital is basically they'll run ads, right? They specifically
Yes,
run
yes.
ads.
LinkedIn, Google.
You also is SEO part of SEO? EOGO is also part of your team, or they're part of separate?
Uh, it's part of like it's a mix. It's part of brand plus the digital. It's a mix. So right now it's a part of like paid is here, and then there is some part uh, in the di- content part of the brand awareness team as well.
Okay, got it. So let's start with let's start with the ABM then, right? I would love to understand what does a real like one-to-one or a one-to-few program look like, based on your
Yeah,
current experience, like based on whatever you've run so far, right?
yeah,
And let's not talk about one-to-many because you mentioned one-to-many is basically it's too
yeah.
broader, and
Demand
then
too broad. Yeah, yeah,
too
yeah,
broad, and then you don't have to think through a lot. Okay, you just
yeah.
basically like run ads or like I don't know, maybe like do a
True,
bulk.
true, true. Send like bulk emails, send
Yeah,
like run ads across your
combination,
TAM.
yeah. Maybe you do
Yeah,
a combination of all two, three, whatever, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
let's not get there, right? So
yeah.
ideally, how does it look like for you when you came on
So,
board? What is a one-on-one like? How do you plan and like what is your strategy? Like maybe like
okay.
explain in like an example.
Yeah,
Maybe pick one or two accounts and then like maybe explain like how
yeah,
you run and then which channels will you choose? How will you choose content? How will
yeah.
you choose to distribute the content or like basically the whole process?
Yeah. So right now our main focus is one to few. To be honest, we're
Okay.
doing like a lot one to few, and one to one is majorly right now an outbound motion for us, where the AEs and the SDRs we are like a pod structure we have. There's an
Okay.
AE and SDR mapping, and they do like one to one, and then obviously I facilitate that. But then my major goal is that I do a lot one to few, And then one to few could be by different cohorts, right? It could be like an industry one to few that we do, pick like our top performing industries and do one to few there. And we also do it by persona. That are the two different buckets that we do in terms of the one to few. And then there are smaller ones, so somebody who's like take last 1 year of webinar attendees, take all of them, done like one, do like one separate campaign. We also do like, because we do city blitz, we also do like city specific campaigns. Okay, going to how do we start envisioning that whole campaign? So I think it starts, basic starts with firstly getting like an alignment in terms of we want to do this, setting goals for ourselves, that we this is what we want to achieve, and taking it as milestones. And also there's obviously an end goal of bringing business in, right? But then that cannot be your 1 month down the line questioning that, okay, oh, there's no deal coming in. So we have to
Yeah.
firstly set expectations right and goals right in terms of across the teams that are involved and leadership. So I think it's there when it starts. So we start by building like understanding our ICP, understanding your accounts. So we have something called named accounts, right? Which each A picks for themselves. Like they see potential in those
Got it.
accounts, they have some connections in those accounts, or they feel like these are the accounts that are worth uh, pursuing and putting more effort, time, money, everything, right? These are specialized accounts. So we let them pick their 50 odd accounts. That's a kind of a mix between what their history says and plus what our data says,
Hmm.
that these will convert, right? So we have like tier wise targeting of our accounts. Tier one targeting, tier two, tier three. So your named accounts have to come from the cream of the tier one, depending upon your personal discretions. So we have like, for example, we let every A choose 50 accounts in general. That makes us like, for example, a pool of 500 accounts. So now our goal is to buy, how do we take these 500 accounts and make smaller 100 into it?
Hmm.
So it could be 1 to 500 also, but then that makes it a little too broad. So we divide it by like, as I said, like an industry. Let's take an example of for us, a fintech is an industry that we feel like contracting is a big thing in the fintech industry. So we take fintech as our segment. We want to do like a dedicated 100 account fintech campaign. So
Okay.
we start understanding what are fintech problems. Start
Hmm.
talking to our AEs, getting alignment, talking to our content team, product marketing team to understand like in the past the ones that have closed, what have they, like go through our gong calls, our customer calls, and understand what the fintech industry is talking about. What are their pain points generally? What have our customers spoken in the past? So we understand what the pain points are. Depending upon that pain points is when we sit with our uh, content team to
Okay.
start working on like POV documents,
Yeah.
case studies around it. It has to start from top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel content, right? So we start with like, doing like POV documents, white papers, ebooks at the top of the funnel. Then we have like case studies at the middle of the funnel. Then we have like product capabilities, how we solve fintech problems in specific as a bottom of the funnel. So we have like content mapped to each stage of the pipe.
Okay.
Then this is the broader content. Then we go about doing like channel wise content.
Hmm.
The channels have to talk to each other, right? So we do like emails for an ebook. How do we promote that ebook? Then we do like ads. The email and ads have to be in sync. Somebody's getting the email and seeing the ad tomorrow have to feel the same uh, messaging. So we do the ads. Then we also now try and partner with a lot of influencers in the tech space, like legal tech space. So what are they talking about? Fintech? Are they talking about? Are they resonating with the pain points? Use them as amplifiers of our messaging in the market. Then we also partner with some third party like digital publications where we can like promote our content, reach our audience wider, utilize the people that are not in our current databases and engage with us, like use new people to get into our databases. So these are selection channel wise.
Got it.
You're executing these channels is when you start seeing, and then there are events tied to those industry. Then we work with events team to identify like, oh, what kind of event can we do, like a
Hmm.
small round table with the fintech industry. So we just try and tie everything together. And we what I forgot in the start was we try and give it a theme, like what is like fintech's most recognizable problem. It could be revenue leakage, for example, right? So revenue leakage becomes the theme for everything that we talk about in that fintech industry. Cater to pain points, but also tying back to the theme. Then because we divide our legal persona, legal is our like main ICP. So when we
Got it.
try to divide legal also by a lot of people don't know like in-house legal versus lawyers. So in-house legal is like a different muscle altogether, which is like your GCs, general counsels, your in-house counsels, your legal ops persona. So we try and divide even our content by these personas. So you have like something that GC is a GC is not really concerned, is not your power user, right? They're gonna be your decision makers in the pipe. So you write content that's different. For him, ROI could be a greater pain point than like a product capability. So for legal ops, you talk about product capability. For a GC, you talk about the ROI of the tool, right? So that's how we try and divide content across channels and personas. Then obviously events, and then there's a rigorous follow-up that needs to happen and a tie-in from the SDRs and the AEs. You do all this, you see engagement, and those engagements have to trickle down one-to-one conversations with your SDRs, and if SDRs then pass it on to the AEs. And that's when like we aim for closing the deal. So it all starts with like marketing, warming up the account, sending awareness into those accounts. Once they show some intent signals of like engaging with our content, downloading our assets, and then we move on to like the SDRs following one to one, and then SDRs if see like we have like own qualification criteria like a band or a need, right? They qualify them on that, and then is when we see potential and pass it on to the AEs for a like opportunity conversations. That's how we like trickle our ABM.
Okay. Is it a sequential? Is it something that you do sequentially, or is it something that you do like parallelly? Like, is it a parallel activity? What is the?
So I like to do it parallelly, to be honest, because I want to like reach out to my audience in any and everywhere there are, right?
Hmm.
So I'll run a email cadence of like 5 nurture emails. In parallel, there are ads shown. In parallel, we'll collaborate with like a third party a vendor for a content syndication. Let them show the ad to their audience as well. So we try and like do it parallelly so that we hit them with all channels wherever they are.
Got it. What is your take on platforms like ABM platforms? Right? Do you currently use any ABM platform, or you just?
I have used them in the past. I've used like Six Sense and Demand Base, to be honest, in the past. I have a mixed feeling about them, to be honest. I think there is some level of hallucination that happens with those platforms. Not everything that comes through them is 100% correct. I luckily my current CMO, he and I are very firm believer of first party intent rather than like a third party or a signal based intent. We feel like if somebody is engaging with your in house content, I think that's a bigger driver, somebody attending your event, that's a bigger conversation starter than somebody like looking for a CLM somewhere and somebody telling you, oh, that person is looking for a CLM. So we like to believe that first party is your, but then I try and club it all together. HubSpot for us is like the single source of truth. We use factors in HubSpot and everything. So we just try everything together in factors, pull our G2 intent, pull like our first party engagements,
Hmm.
pull like signals from Clay and Apollo and bring it all together and then pick our best lot for our SDRs to go after.
Have you ever seen this intent data work from any of these platforms?
As I said,
Okay.
I'm not a very
Maybe
like,
you don't want to be controversial, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I'm not gonna
let's
like
not pick,
name
let's not
drop.
pick any specific platform. It's just in
Yeah,
general, I'm
I
curious.
think more misses than hits. To be honest, that's I feel
Where, where have,
it's a
okay.
gamble that you play.
Where have you seen the most conversions happen, especially when it comes to ABM? Is it you? I'm a strong believer of depending on the ICP. There's certain
Yes,
ICPs are very comfortable with some channels, right? Like some people are
100%,
comfortable
hundred
with
percent,
LinkedIn, some people reply
100%.
emails really well, some people respond to calls well, some people respond to
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
yeah,
It
yeah,
has to do with sometimes we all think that it's also like individual personality trait or something, but then I
mm,
also have seen like if you map your persona pretty well, that
yeah,
persona
yeah,
has that particular persona has that typical sense of using something. Like give you an
yeah,
example, like salespeople, right? They're on LinkedIn, like so it's
yeah, yeah,
and reply very fast because they are also doing their prospecting on LinkedIn.
yeah,
They also respond to calls also because they are also cold calling, right? And
yeah,
then typically when it comes to a CFO conversation, mostly typically offline, they work really well offline. And
yeah,
that's why I see a lot of companies who sell to BFSI, they bring the CFOs or finance people
yeah.
on a webinar, like typically
Right,
also
yeah.
on a round table,
Round
right?
tables, yeah, yeah.
But do you have like very specific channels which you think, hey, it'll work in irrespective of what, right? I mean, could be anything,
I
right? Like
think
what do you see?
I think by persona, yes, but I also feel by geography, these channels differ a
Yeah,
lot. Right?
absolutely. Yeah, I know.
So by persona, yes, for us, like legal is our bread and butter.
Mhm.
So legal are very like community driven people is what we
Okay.
feel. So they like go a lot by like word of mouth and understanding
Mhm.
like people in like. So for us, events usually drive a lot of like
Got it.
uh, very like high intent uh, leads coming in from events. So that's number one channel. The number one for us is that. Like also we're okay. The second best for us is email. We engage a lot of people through email as well, like email engagements, clicking email, downloading our assets. So and also what we've seen is that when we do so as I said, like legal also has bifurcations for us. For us, like GC is a different persona than a legal ops because their problems are different and the needs are different. So we try and bifurcate legal also one level down. So that's where we see, like for example, if I'm writing a content that's very legal ops specific,
Mm.
that becomes a high engagement for us. Then if I'm writing in general for like legal, AI and legal, that is obviously a driver. But then when I write like, okay, legal ops, this content is specifically for legal ops, then it becomes like a high performing and like revenue driving like starter
So
of it.
when it comes to personalization, right, you have certain channels where you can use personalization really well. There's certain channels which you can't use personalization
Yeah,
pretty well because you'll have to, even if you're messaging, of course, you have a larger audience. You can probably run ads also, but then
yeah,
messaging is like you said, a legal ops. You can run a legal ops messaging if you're running a LinkedIn ads campaign for a
yeah,
larger set of audience, and then you can also do a same messaging when you're doing an email campaign or a LinkedIn DMs or doing a little bit of
yeah,
outbound. uh, but then in terms of distribution, like how do you manage distribution, right? Because distribution is always difficult when it becomes to personalized.
yeah,
Of course, you mentioned you're not doing one to one. Okay, like sorry,
yeah,
you're not doing one to one, which means it's comparatively easy. But when you
yeah,
do one to one, it becomes a lot more difficult to
yeah.
get the messaging out for every single person, every single persona.
True, true, true.
Do you
I've
have like any other challenges apart from, because do you also have use microsites or do you use like
Yes,
anything?
yes, yes. So I want to come to. So today, I think coincidentally, I was just seeing some LinkedIn. I don't remember the some influencer, some LinkedIn influencer, and I was just seeing like one uh, ad, one image, single
Okay.
image ad from that influencer, which talks about like one to one a lot. So I just forwarded that to my digital person and was like, how do we do this?
Okay.
Sounds promising. How do we do this? So we had to have that conversation. But I've done one to one a lot at Cognizant, to be honest,
Okay.
where they were like win deals. We used to form like smaller teams, which would like just go after like one account, make very catered text messaging for one to one. But how
Right.
I'm doing it because it's very different for SaaS versus services, right? For SaaS,
Because their services is also
yes,
bigger deals, right? They are huge,
very
like
bigger, very bigger,
especially
like
when it comes
200
to
million
Cognizant.
deals, 150 million deals. They're like
Yeah, yeah.
very big. The different world.
Huh.
How I'm doing it, I have done a test. It's not like I've not done one to one at SpotDraft at all. So we do microsites, like clay-based microsites, where like clay
Mhm.
makes your tables. You make clay tables, and then it pushes like a
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
microsite. Like so, we've done it. The distribution of it, like as you said, becomes a little difficult because there's a smaller audience that you've reached to, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, email is a no-brainer challenge that you want to send them email, but how do you
You-
make them know that this is there for them, just for them?
Yeah, you
That's
can't
the
even
challenge.
send email if you send first email with a link, right? It's gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah,
spammy, right? That's another
yeah.
challenge that we generally face.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been trying in LinkedIn emails and
Hmm.
emails for now to do like one to one, and then we like have our SDRs to like chase after them on like calls and stuff. And so my main goal is to land them on that one microsite. And I was seeing like one webinar from Clay where they do like really exciting stuff of like doing one-to-one campaigns. So they have like really like high repository of like how Clay uses Clay. I really like that. They
Right.
talk about like one-to-one a lot there. So the other way that we are currently in the process of executing one-to-one is that we're doing like direct mailers, doing personalized direct mailers, sending it out to their office addresses because getting
What
addresses
is your
is
which platform do you use for direct mailers?
right now, we're doing it like all manual in-house. We're doing like clay tables, enriching and getting like things, and then we're like
Okay.
uh, doing it like currently our events team is handling that, doing one-to-one for them.
Is it you're sending the direct mailers directly to the address of the person?
Office address, we like trying
Address?
out office address because we tried the way of like going asking people, would you be okay giving us addresses? That is just failing. So we just like we like, okay, reduce the amount of that you're spending and send it to their office addresses. If they show intent, they're like happy to reply back, get on calls. We're like happy to send like bigger packages, but we're trying out like small TMs to engage the people that will not be able to crack accounts.
Got it.
So that's
Will
one
you be
way.
able to see any success of that, like so far in terms of direct mailers? So,
We're still in a very pilot stage of it. So I wouldn't say, but yes, I've done it in the past. And to be honest, I think it's as I said, hit and miss. Some accounts would like really appreciate it and out of obligation do come on your call, and then it's your like A's and SDR's strengths to get that converted. But what I feel is that those account, how you pick those accounts matters a lot. Are they even like in the buying cycle?
yeah, exactly. You need to know. Yeah, the context
Yeah.
is more important, right? You have
Yeah.
to
How do
know
you
whether
pick the
they're
counts based
exactly.
base
Yeah,
of it?
whenever we've done this in terms of signals, right? Like when we know that this is the right time, if you reach out to somebody, they'll definitely convert. But then if you
Yeah,
keep doing AVM outreach to people like, who's not even in the, let's say if they've
market.
just
Yeah.
signed a contract with an agency, right? They've just
Mm.
signed, they just
Yeah.
got another product, another CLM product, right?
Yeah.
Like just now, just a couple of months
Yeah.
back, right? There's no way they're going
Yeah.
to replace, they're going to talk to you, right? It's going to take
True.
another
True.
10
Yeah.
months, 8 months to, have a
100%.
conversation.
100%.
Right. And what do you think, like what do you think people get wrong in terms of doing ABM itself? And I know my experience. I'll share that also. According to
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
where do you think people get it wrong?
Uh, I think that's a very tricky question. I think where they get it wrong is treating it as a campaign rather than like treating it as like an org wide. It has to be like a org wide motion across teams. It can't be like a campaign running in silos. The As I said, the buy-in has to come across, and then how you pick your audience for that ABM becomes very critical. I feel these are the two like things that in my little experience I know that firstly is everybody understands what ABM is and like has a buy-in to put their heart, soul, and effort into doing this. And also, how do you pick your uh, accounts, the ICP? Do you really understand what you're picking? Because as a lot of studies says, there are only 5% of your TAM that's in the market at
Yes,
the time, right?
correct. Yes,
So do
exactly.
you understand that 5% also? So that's where like it fails and succeeds is what I feel.
Got it. And how much time do you need to wait to get, uh, or at least to see what's working, if it's working or not? Your initial pipeline shows up, or your
Yeah,
leading
yeah,
indicators like start
yeah,
showing up at some point, right? How
yeah,
much time, and what is your advice to people who's talking, even to us, right? Like even
yeah,
to as an agency, somebody is coming in and saying that Karthik, second week I want to see results and stuff, right?
yeah.
We don't encourage that. Like we tell people, and they're very very adamant. Okay, like they're adamant in terms of saying that, like I told you, right? The recent conversation I had, the person is
Yeah.
saying that we are a great brand, and then
Still
and
not.
anybody who's sending out the emails from our email ID should obviously get more results, right? Then like
Yeah,
my question is like, why will you need us then? You can only send that
yeah,
email, like, obviously,
yeah,
right? So how long does it take for you? You've done this quite a while now. What's the minimum time somebody should have or think, right? If somebody is
yeah,
sponsoring the ABM program, if it's a founder typically or a CMO, how
yeah.
long do you think it takes? And how much? how do you measure pipeline? Like, what is the
Yeah.
indicator for
Yeah.
that?
I think my CMO gonna kill me. Maybe I believe like one quarter is like a fair weight that you need to, because it's like, as I said, it's a motion, not a campaign.
Hmm.
It's a change of way you operate as a marketer, then just like doing one channel. How do you tie all that together? So I feel like one quarter is where you start seeing a pipe, but then you don't have to wait one quarter to start seeing the leading indicators. You'll start seeing leading indicators maybe like earlier, right?
Hmm.
People will, because when you are in their eyes through n number of channels, it becomes like, as I said, leading indicators like an event registration. People are registering to your events, engaging with your content, opening your emails more, right? So you have to be present wherever they are. So leading indicators should start, I think, should start seeing in a month's time, and then some substantial is a one quarter, bare minimum one quarter thing where you should give your ABM a quarter to flourish. Is what I
Okay.
feel.
So
Yeah.
quarter is a good time to look at. But then,
Yeah.
of course, if your sales cycle is longer, then it's going to be a lot more, right? That's.
Yes. Yes. 100%. It depends on your like cycle as well, right? How soon your deals get closed.
But do you recommend doing that same? Is it the same for everybody, or you think it depends on different sales cycle also? Because what is your sales cycle? Is it like 3 months, 6 months?
Right now, we close to 3 months.
Sales cycle is 3 months, right? Now look, imagine a company whose sales cycle is, let's say, 16 months or
Yeah.
12 months or 18 months, right?
Yeah.
But then for them, do you think like 1 month, 2 months is a good time to look at uh, indicators or leading indicators or pipeline, or like do you think they need more time?
I think for us, it made sense to start seeing the leading indicators in 1 month because our cycles aren't very big. We usually like, I would say, 70-80% of our MQ, at least SQLs, come from the MQLs the same quarter.
Oh,
So
okay, okay,
yeah, so most of us, like I would say 75-ish, 80% of our SQLs are from the MQLs of the same quarter. So at least
oh,
bare
got it.
minimum we convert to SQLs the same quarter. So our sales cycle, at least till the SQL, is pretty solid. The deal velocity is pretty high. So for us, yes, in a month's time, we should start seeing the leading indicators, as I said.
Is it because you run the program with a lot of intent and context, or is it because you run it, or is the industry itself is it like this?
I think a mix of a couple of things.
Hmm?
Firstly, we do a lot. Our SDRs do a lot of multi-threading. So we try and
Okay,
bring like a lot of decision makers in the deal pretty early. And
okay,
also our deals don't like take in a lot of like inter team happening. It's usually like legal, most of the time legal making the decision.
hmm.
So it doesn't prolong because there are less like, as people say, there has to be like 5 to 10 uh, people
The
involved in
smaller
the process.
size of
So
the size
our
of the
becomes
legal team is also comparatively
yeah,
small,
so
right?
legal teams are
And
smaller. We have like maybe a procurement person or maybe like a finance person coming in. So it becomes a little smaller as compared to people where like there are like 10 people involved in a deal. And we also try and engage as a team, engage all decision makers pretty early into the cycle.
probably another advantage you have as a legal team is you don't have to send contracts to somebody else. You
Yeah.
send contracts to the legal.
That's true. They understand the problem. They understand everything. They do it day in, day out. And like, yeah. Obviously, my in-house, our own legal team is pretty fast with that.
Yeah, got it. No, I've sent a
Yeah,
contract to a huge
yeah,
company. It came back after 30 days. By the time it was
exactly,
almost
exactly.
into the billing
Yeah,
rate,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
challenge for
yeah,
in
yeah.
general.
End of the quarter, we close contracts in like less than a day at the end of the quarter. So yeah,
Got it. See, let's come to demand gen also. So, I think the demand gen has also gone through a lot of changes, right? A lot of inventions. We talk about clay, we talk about
yeah,
cloud code, we talk about I don't know, skills now, clay tables,
yeah,
like so much has gone through, right?
yeah,
Like those
yeah,
traditional way of looking at Apollo clay, like multiple tools is also gone, right? You get
yeah.
you get your research in a single place, you get your data in a single place, right? Uh, So what is like uh, what what do you what according to you, right? What is the most important thing for a team to have when you're running a demand gen right now? Okay, like an ideal, like let's say, ideal tools to have. Okay, only few. If you have to choose, maybe three tools at the max. Okay, like what do you
Yeah,
recommend?
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be
Okay.
saying Clay for now because you already mentioned two, three times. Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I will let you choose other two. What?
yeah. Because I think a CRM, like that's a solid, like for us,
No,
HubSpot
CRM,
is
leave the CRM. Okay, leave CRM app.
okay.
I'm not including CRM
Okay.
app. That's like must-haves, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's a must
probably,
have.
yeah. If I have to choose a tool, right? Like you said Clay already, right? What
Yeah,
maybe one more, two more you can add. Uh, Leave the channels also. Channels are very
yeah,
specific, right?
yeah.
Because we all choose LinkedIn, Google Ads, email, and all of
100%. Everybody's doing it.
that. Right? But give me two, three tools like which is a
Hmm.
must
Yeah,
for
we
anybody who's
use
running programs or demand gen
we
programs.
use factors a lot
Okay.
because that just brings ties everything together for us. A lot of
Okay.
like accumulation of a lot of things. Uh, we also use Apollo
Okay.
for our like a lot of outreach. The SDRs use like a lot of Apollo sequences. You get like hiring signals, job change signals, and all that. Also like a lot of like AI in terms of like personalization. So I would, apart from like if the basic out of the question, so I would still pick like factors is one that we use. Polo is what we use as a demand function. Clay obviously we use. So I think I'm going to pick at least these bare minimum these three that really need to be
Got it.
base
Okay.
for us.
We were also a power user of Clay, and then we moved
Okay.
to Cloud Code. I mean, we were doing all this
Um,
microsites about a couple of years back, like 1.5 years back when Clay
yeah.
introduced. So we built all a long list of Clay tables. Then Clay used to do research. They used to find out website traffic, their ad spend and all of that, and then eventually create a microsite. Okay. Then what happened was we didn't distribute it properly. And like I said, no, email is a challenging one, and an email
Yeah.
generally goes to spam. Now we use Cloud Code to create microsites now. Become a lot more
Nice.
easy. Just to, I mean,
Hmm.
to cut down the cost of Clay, and then now we're using Cloud Code to do that. We
Hmm.
still use Upwork for data, but Cloud has also kind of helped us in terms of shortening a whole lot of process in
Okay.
terms of
Okay.
doing something for like 5 hours, 10 hours to now right now half an hour or 1 hour.
Yeah.
Again,
I
want to
haven't
try
explored that.
if you want to try, that's like we've tried like multiple microsites. That's something that worked for us now. We
Nice.
create
Okay.
also personalized messages through Cloud Code only
Yeah.
uh, because it is more context, right? Like it can do research for
True.
you. Then all you have to do is
True.
just the output of how you
Yeah.
want it, and then eventually you'll get it right. And then we see like those LinkedIn DMs are only going to people like who we think are relevant, and of course there's
Yeah.
a lot of messages that goes through. We're not heavy right now. We were inbound led earlier, and right now we are also starting APM programs.
Okay.
Yeah, then
Mm.
like something we've been doing. But in terms of how I ran my MBA program earlier, I also used to do direct mailers those days.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is also LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn
Yeah.
uh, emails, and a lot of referral programs. Like we reached out to this is a company. Then of course this is an industry agnostic company that I worked with. Like SpotDraft is also industry agnostic, right? Like you have a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
everybody has a legal team, and then you'll have to pick and choose like which industries you want to focus on
True.
because certain
True.
industries convert better, certain industries don't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it comes to an industry agnostic company, you only have to pick the ICP really well because TAM is like in general,
Hmm.
TAM is so huge. Like everybody has a legal team, right? Probably
True.
beyond 500 people, you have everybody has a legal team.
Yeah.
Though there, for me, what was the most successful was because I chose accounts really well because I chose accounts because all PLG motion and PLG typically, what happens, they sign up from everywhere.
Yeah.
Identifying bigger companies in PLG is also important because in PLG companies don't identify bigger companies to cross sell to.
Hmm.
Okay. So in PLG motion, I have identified bigger companies to cross sell to, and then I picked those companies based on interaction, based on number of users coming from those accounts, and then I basically reached out to them. Worked in really well in my favor because they're already a power user, and when you reach out to a
Hmm.
power user, it's easy to convince the decision maker to sell, right? And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
all of them, that's the context that I'm talking about here also. In your
yeah.
sales case also, if somebody is already buying a, for example, build with is probably an important tool for you, right? If you're able to
Mm.
identify who's your competitors users, like if they recently purchased
Yeah,
a product, or if they saw, if it's 11 months towards the product, if you know that competitors like not doing well on certain futures, right? You
yeah,
get
yeah.
good time to reach out
True,
to, and they'll have the most probability of conversion rather than reaching out to everybody in the funnel,
true,
everybody in
true.
the list, right?
Yeah.
So
I,
that's
I
probably. Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't want to like call that out, to be honest, very upfront, that we're like trying to get to our competitors' customers. But there we have like a motion that we follow with like identifying who those are, and like doing like a lot of like targeted outreach to them, because we know the pain points that those competitors have and how we can leverage those to
That's part of the
get them
business.
to us. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's part of the business, right? It's
True,
it's okay.
true, true. Yeah,
Everybody does it.
you have to do it.
Right. So you talked
Exactly.
about brief-led narratives and you know family, and then brand familiarity, meeting best product, and all of that, right? And typically, what I've also seen with marketers is they lead towards like me and like I and we, like how
Mm,
what is like
mm,
what can I do? What my product has so many features. My service is the best service in the world.
yeah,
All of that. Right? How does that philosophy actually shows up in your programs? Could be a demand gen program, it could be an AVM program. You
yeah.
also mentioned that early in the conversation, saying that, hey, Karthik, I listen to the sales call, I listen to customer calls,
Yes,
I talk to
yeah,
customer service, I talk to sales. A lot of
yeah,
messaging that comes through when you do that. Okay, it's also clear for you. There you can probably do belief led, you can do storytelling led, right, and stuff like that. But
yes, yes.
traditionally, if you are the only one who has that kind of a mindset, how do you transfer that mindset into everybody that's working for you? Or it's difficult because for example, I am a first principle founder, and for me to push that information or push that first principle thinking into my team is difficult, very very difficult. Okay, I have to keep repeating, keep telling them. I have to have multiple mentorship calls and sessions
Yeah,
and telling them what to do. Right? How do you? One is how do you transfer that belief, knowledge, messaging into your programs, and how do you instill that uh,
into the
thought
team.
process into the team as well? Like,
Yeah,
what is your thought process on that?
yeah. I think uh, specifically CLM as a market, this is right now very crowded market. There are a lot of players like happening, and there are regional players happening, right? So we have to find our niche, is what I try and like
Hmm.
tell my team, that you have to find what is your selling point. Everybody will talk to the same people. Like there's this like limited audience that everybody is sending emails to, right? So you have to find what's your strength that makes you stand out. So that's the kind of belief that I'm trying to instill in my team as well, to very rigorously understand the ICP, understand take it on yourself, like understand if you what's like drink your own champagne kind of a thing, use it yourself, see what are the problems that you face when you, because we also like I raise contracts on my own platform, right? I use it to like sign vendor contracts, the vendors that I
Hmm.
onboard, marketing vendors. So when you use it is when you try and understanding what the user might need. Like you could have questions like, okay, when I did this did not pop up. So understanding your product also. As a marketer, you need to understand your product also. It's not just product marketing's responsibility to understand the product, but across, because that's when your messaging becomes very conversational, very like pain point driven when you understand what you offer. So understand your ICP, understand your product, and then tie them both together is what I feel. And then how do I instill it? Obviously, we have like, and we promote that a lot. Like, go QC your leads that are coming in daily. How did they find us? Where did they go? How are they like identifying SpotDraft? What do we double down on? So we try and instill that as a marketing in general whole, to be curious of like how are people identifying it, what is working, what is not working, and then translate that into your messaging. Spend like 1 hour a day, if not 1 hour, half hour a day, to go through the gong calls. Everybody has like Slack channels where the conversations start trickling down. Like there's a call that happened, there's a gong channel, the summary comes in. Go read that summary so that you are up to date of what people in the industry are talking in their terms of their pain points, and then curate your messaging. So we try and instill that as a whole marketing team to be curious and to understand what people are in the market looking for and what's our differentiation. So it should not always be just product marketing's responsibility to have that messaging. That has to be like everybody in marketing's responsibility to understand ICP, to understand the product. So I
Got
feel
it.
like if that's done, that's 70% of the problem solved.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I've done. I've also kind of opened my Fireflies recording to everybody in the team. So I have we connected
Yeah.
AI. Yes, I said anything that you. That's my persona, right? Like that's the thing that I'm talking about. Earlier days, it was more difficult to.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's so
basically
easy
connect.
now.
Yeah, so easy, right? So I
Yeah.
opened my Fireflies. We have something called Riva internally. The Riva is a
Okay.
Slack chatbot. Okay, you can ask any questions to Riva, and he.
Yeah, we
Okay,
have something called Neo.
yeah,
Ask
we have.
Neo. Yeah,
Yes, Neo, right? Like we have something called
yeah,
Riva. Riva is
yeah.
Rev is we basically trade.
Nice, nice.
Comparatively, the knowledge, the KT that you as a founder want to push towards to the last uh, set of people, and it goes through that, right? And
Yeah,
that's something that has also worked for us. So we've connected everything. Like it's like a
nice,
neural network. Okay, so anybody who wants to create something, it's there somewhere. Okay, they'll have to have
nice.
the. Now the biggest problem is like making people, you know, ask questions to
Adoption,
you.
adoption. That's like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, people should ask the relevant question. We will ask the right
yeah,
question so that they'll get the right answer. So that's the second challenge that we're trying to solve here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you
Adoption is the
also,
problem.
according to you, let's talk about US GTM. Okay, so you probably must have seen a lot more failures than success in US GTM. All of us do, right? Tell us something about US GTM in general. What people should consider, think through when they're trying to go to the US. Okay, why I tell you is because most of the conversation I have with founders, the one first thing that they say is, "I want to do US GTM." I'm like, "You
Yeah,
have money. You have money." Okay, like
yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't have money, then you can't think about this, right?
yeah,
So according to you, because you also worked in Cognizant, you have worked
yeah,
in the other companies, iCertis, I guess, right? And then
yeah,
now
yeah, yeah,
SpotDraft. And
yeah,
probably most of the legal CLM that you sell is also probably to
yeah,
your US.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is the like? What are hits and misses there? Like what are to dos and what are not to dos?
Okay, so what I feel for like, I think, as I said, like every geography I feel has a different approach towards buying in general, not just like buying a software, but buying in general. They have a very different approach. Like if I take like Indians, we are very relationship driven. Oh, somebody is using it. We might also want to like somebody's told me this works really well, so they might just like the referral and all that works really well, like because we're a very relationship driven country in general. What I feel with US is though yes, legal in general is a relationship driven industry, but they are also very uh, upfront in their like what do they want.
Hmm.
They don't like they want to like cut the short talks and the small talks and like get to the, because we've had like conversations where they're like, okay, we know what a CLM does. We
Hmm.
just want to know what SpotDraft does,
Hmm.
right? So the GTM portion there that we try and do, and I still feel in this age of AI, everybody is already made up 70% of their mind, the vendor that they want to onboard before they come on a call.
Hmm.
They in the back of their head they know where they're inclined to go. So
Hmm.
you don't have to start with what a CRM does and what like the cut the first
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of it, and then like only focus on what you do best and how you do best. To change their mind, to be honest,
yeah.
because as I said, I feel that in this age everybody already knows what they want because they've researched it. AI makes it so easy. You just ask a question on a chat GPT or a perplexity or a Claude, and you have like your options in front of you. So you have to be always present in the mind, because when the decision is supposed, even before like 2 quarters before somebody has to even identify the need, you have to be there, is what I feel like. Brand Awareness and brand recall has to always be there before a person even knows that they need a CLM,
Hmm.
right? A lot of people think that, oh, okay, what does brand awareness do? Brand awareness does not give you tangible outcomes in general, but then when the person is on the table to make that call and identifies the need, were you there in their head 2 quarters ago when when they were even not thinking about it? So I feel that's the motion that we want to do, that always be present, optimize ourselves for like 1 quarter, 2 quarter down the deals that we want to like get into. And that's where also ABM comes into picture. That we're not looking at something that's converting tomorrow. We're looking at being present, and then it trickles down and comes down into their head when they are making that decision happen. So be present, focus on what, cut the noise, focus on what you do best, how are you different from others, what value do you bring to the table as
Right.
a product.
Let's say one step. Let's take one step back. Right now, we've talked about the sales conversation. Right? What in terms of the marketer, in terms of ABM demand gen, right? Like what would one should think through? What campaigns, what channels work, or like what kind of budget somebody should have before they think about US? Like according to you, bare minimum.
I think in terms of, if I start with budget, I think how it should be ideally structured is, if there's like $100 that you have to spend, maybe like a $30-ish goes into like a core ABM play.
Okay.
25% goes into like your brand awareness piece, and then there has to be like a 50% split in terms of, because events is very like heavy
Hmm.
money input channels. So a 30-40% has to go into, and then like a 10% in terms of like how you collaborate with out party, like third parties that you collaborate with, right? Influencers, vendors that you use to amplify your reach. So I feel like there has to be like a good mix of like a 50% demand plus awareness, 30-40% events, and then like 10-15% to how do you engage with
You
audience
got
that's
it.
not in your bucket right
Do you recommend? Do you recommend like setting up a booth, or do you think somebody should just go first, attend the events, and then have a feel, and then eventually figure out how to set up
now.
a booth?
I am a huge fan of owned events rather than
Okay,
attending trade shows and conferences, to be honest,
got it.
because I just feel like there are some events that we go to that have 200 vendors
Hmm.
selling the same thing.
Got it.
So I think I'm a huge believer of uh,
Okay, so you're saying okay, put
uh,
20-25% of the budget on the owned events, right, rather than going for
we do a
mass.
mix. We do a mix. We like split between like 20%, for example, 20 out of the 40% that we spent, like 20-30% on the owned events because they're high money, uh, smaller cohorts and smaller audiences, but high value people. And then we spend like another amount on our
Got it. Okay,
trade shows and
uh,
industry events.
got it. Um, in terms of if you're like if you're asked to set up your, I mean, imagine there was nobody, right, who was doing US right now. Then you're straight away jumping into the US, right? Straight away being asked to do something, right? What will you do now? You've been given, let's say, like 100 rupees, right?
Yeah.
And like first thing you'll do, first thing you'll do when you want to do US, in terms of will you start working on the messaging? Will you start working on channels? Like which channels will you work on? Like immediately that comes to your mind.
I think the number one, I would, as I said, I would start with understanding what the market needs right now. Evaluating my competitors. That's my like number one to start with. Evaluating
Okay.
who's already in the market, what are they doing, like what are my differentiators, where is my USP that I sell, right? I have to identify my niche. Like for example, for us, SMBs and mid markets is our niche that we want to do. We don't want to do like enterprises right now, like really big deals. We want to focus on our like SMBs. We've like identified, okay, in US, San Francisco, New York is our major focus. So firstly, I would want to identify our ICP very solid before you enter into jumping into the market in terms
Got
of
it.
channels, right?
Okay.
So understand our
Okay.
ICP, then devise your channels is what I feel.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I think reverse engineer this whole. I have the same question, right? I have so the in terms of channels, you already mentioned events are your number one channel. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Events followed by email.
Yes.
and
Then it's
what else?
the content downloads,
Okay,
uh,
towards stuff,
followed
right?
by, yeah, yeah.
Is it like only your team? Correct. If I look at the overall picture of how your demand gen works, so probably there could be inbound, it could be organic,
Yes,
something else, correct?
yes,
But
yes.
you're only talking about your particular your
So
responsibility, ownership.
yeah, so I think right now we have, so a lot of people have like inbound and outbound channels. We have something called allbound as well.
Okay.
That's a term coined inside SpotDraft. We like to call it like allbound, where both marketing and sales collectively, the SDR and the inbound collectively contribute to getting a demo booked. Uh,
Yeah, this was coined by I think somebody in LinkedIn, Adam.
yeah, I'm sure there is like,
Allbound, yeah, yeah. They started calling Allbound because they want to sell this
yeah.
website de-anonymization
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah, so we like, and that's our right now the number one converting channel. If you look at inbound, outbound,
got it,
allbound, that's our number one
got it,
converting. So
got
we
it.
try and put our uh, like how we do it, like marketing warms up the account, gets you some first party intent, and then sales goes converts them. That's how we want to do it.
Okay, so we're in the final,
Yes.
almost at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one thing. You believed about B2B 2 years ago that you no longer believe. Uh,
Hmm. That's a I think if I talk about from a ABM perspective, I believe like a lot of people had no belief in ABM a few years ago. They always thought it was like a fancier term of an
mhm.
outbound or an emails, like you're just combining channels and calling it an ABM, right? But I feel that that shift has happened now, and teams are seeing it as a motion in terms of, okay, this is our set of accounts that we want like really go after, get win. So treat it with that love and care and like so that shift what I've seen in like couple of years, and I'm glad that I stick with ABM and I didn't like let go of what I felt was an evolving branch in marketing. So I think that this is a belief shift of now companies and the founders believing that ABM is not just a fancier word, but it's a motion and it's a muscle in itself. Is what I feel is very.
What is the one piece of advice you would give for somebody who's just starting their career, right, to take up a role in ABM or like to head
Yeah,
global
yeah,
ABM or
yeah.
demand gen, right? What is the one thing that you tell them?
I think, as I said, I might just look like a broken record saying the same thing, but I still feel like understand your ICP and understand your product, understand who you're selling to and what you're selling. That makes a lot of difference. People just leave product to in marketing just to product marketing. So understand your product, understand your audience. That solves, I think, 50-60% of your problem if you understand these two things well.
Yeah, like understand your audience. Can you elaborate? Because everybody says, right? Why I'm
Yeah,
asking this,
yeah,
everybody says talk
yeah,
about ICP, learn about ICP,
yeah,
understand
yeah,
your
yeah,
audience.
yeah, yeah.
What does understanding audience mean?
Okay, so and I think that what helped me was because I started with internet research of understanding where they're going, what they're doing. So I think what it really means for me is understand, put yourself in their shoes, and if you had to, like, for example, uh, do a contract manually versus do a contract through a software, what difference would that make for
Hmm.
that person? So put yourself in their shoes and try and raise a contract by yourself. Do it manually, put it on paper, send it to somebody, they will redline it, send it back to you, then you do it again, keep doing that on paper here and there, and then you will know how much pain that takes, and then do it through a system. So basically, put yourself in shoes, do it, test it out yourself, how it's done. That problem that you're solving, is that problem, what's the pain point in that problem? Understand that first. What your ICP needs. They don't need like fancy software sitting on pile of data. They need something that takes that data and converts it into something meaningful, right? So understand their pain points, understand what they're going through daily, day-to-day basis. Only then you'll be able to put
Live
software on top of it.
You basically live through their pain points, right?
Day
Like
in the
they
life. We did a video which called Day in the Life of Legal Ops.
legal ops. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think
it's
since
like
you also there's a huge advantage of you becoming an ABM person is because you also started with doing data in the first place. I
yeah,
also
yeah,
started as an SDR like way back
nice.
in 2004. So I also started working on data,
Yeah,
uh, finding emails through multiple options. Like you those days, there was no Apollo, Zoom,
yeah,
Infosys, Photo,
exactly, exactly. We've been in that industry times when everything was
yeah,
done manually.
manually. You also worked in thousands. I also worked in IT services like
Yeah, yeah,
few years back, right?
yeah,
And those days, the only way to generate leads is of course to cold call, to send emails, to
exactly,
prospect.
exactly.
There's no, there was absolutely nothing like this. Like no
No
tools.
personalization, no tools happening, doing things for you. We've done the groundwork by ourselves in our times.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a good advice to people who's trying to become ABM. And I also do the same advice, right? Live through somebody's shoes, try and understand data, try
Yeah,
and understand like do research, talk few people, like
true.
see their online presence, like what do they do, what is their behavior, like what do they
Yeah,
like, what do they don't like what is their problem, what is their responsibility, roles and responsibilities. At some point, like when I was working in an IT company, we also used to download CVs of people
wow.
that we were selling to, and then map out the problem statement. It was way back. It was 20 years back. Okay,
Yeah,
and because those days you don't have Claude and all, right? Like you don't
true.
have a way to research. First party information was not available except for the CVs that people apply through, right? So
Yeah,
in India we used to use Naukri, in the US we used to use like there were some sites like Monster, some
yeah,
read something. I forgot the name of the job site. We used to download CVs and do a lot more research, and then use that information to create a profiling of that account, and then give it to the salespeople so that they
wow.
can go and like sell, right? And that was something
Wow.
that we've used.
Yeah.
Um, so we're almost at the end of the conversation. I really thank you for joining us and having this conversation about ABM and demand gen. I wish we had more time.
Yeah,
The podcast is going to be like only
yeah.
right, like we can't go more than an hour in terms of podcast.
True, true,
So
true.
we'll probably do this like 40, 45 minutes kind of an
Yeah,
episode. I really enjoyed talking to you. I wish
same
like
here.
we have more conversation.
Yeah.
But if you, in the future, if you have something, you need something, help, exchange notes, always
True,
happy to do
true.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Make it.
We keep doing this for our clients. We keep trying multiple things for our clients, right? We focus a
Yeah,
lot on one to few for a lot of our clients.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Yadi, anything that you want, like any like new things that you want to learn, or something that we're experimenting, I'm always happy to share something with you, right? And we keep
100%.
doing giveaways, doing webinars. Like let me know if you want to attend any of it. I'm happy to
Yeah,
share
sure,
that
sure.
as well.
Yeah. I
It's
think it's,
wonderful talking to you. Say hi to Annapurna for me. I'll
yes,
just
100%, 100%.
tell once again. We talked in between. After that, it's been a while since we
Yeah.
exchanged messaging. But
True.
lovely having you on the
Same here,
podcast.
same here. Thank you, Karthik. I think this was like rather than I think it was like a exchange of ideas, kind of like learning something while talking through it. But I really enjoyed. I think I really enjoyed the
My
conversation and like
my pleasure.
let's stay in touch. I think exchange notes. They're like
Absolutely.
SaaS is a small world, as I said. Let's like stay in
Yeah.
touch.
I'll see you then. Bye bye. Have a
So
great day.
thank you, Karthik. Thank you. Bye bye.